Hey, this is Mystery Redacted, aka Red, and this drawing I've called Death because I am still unoriginal. You would not believe yesterday. So normally I post a video. I've been trying to post it every day. I know that schedule's going to go down the hole eventually, but I normally try and keep up with it, but yesterday was mayhem. Absolute mayhem for me. Like, it was bad luck on top of bad luck. It was like I had broken 15 mirrors in one day. So, I went to record, and my screen recording software was like, no, you're not allowed to record. Well, who do you think you are? And it's just completely blocked me out of my screen recording software. So I was like, okay, I'll just post the backup video that I did a lot of recording for, that I was saving up for when I had to do a lot of college stuff, because I have to move to a different region and all that, and it was going to take a while, and there would be a very long while, like 2 to 3 weeks, that I wouldn't have my drawing tablet, which meant that drawing things for YouTube without editing software or screen capture or even my drawing tablet would be impossible. So yeah, I had a couple backup videos, so I was like, oh, I'll use those. Yeah, the screen recording software said no as well, and deleted the files. So all that work I put into those videos is just poof, gone. And of course, you can imagine me at this point, being on the ground, crying. It was a really fun day. So I went to my backup screen recording software because I had another one installed, just in case. So I started drawing another picture. So at this point I have 3 pictures, 2 of which are completed but don't have any recording with them, and 1 that's just being recorded. Halfway through it I realised, hey, it's not recording, is it? And so I look to see what's happened, and it cut off at 14 minutes. Now here's the thing about drawing that probably a lot of you would know. It takes a long time to draw, and 14 minutes isn't enough. Especially with the level of detail I do with the highlights and the shadows and all that. 15 minutes isn't gonna cut it. So yeah, I had to spend a long time looking for another screen recording software. So I looked. I didn't find anything, and I was out of inspiration. So I was just running on fumes. I didn't know what to draw. I didn't know what I wanted to draw. I didn't know how any of these programs worked. And so I was like, okay, we'll leave it to tomorrow. But oh boy, the bad day did not end there. Oof. So I'm going to be living at a residence. So I'm going to just have my own little room with a shower and stuff and a communal kitchen. And the thing is that I'm meant to make a rendezvous. I was meant to make an appointment to get the keys. Except they're like, we don't have you on file. So of course I thought that was pretty bad. So I tried to call another place because they weren't the ones that did the file. It was a different place. I tried to call this different place to see if they had my file, like what's going on. And they didn't respond. They was like, please send an email. I was like, okay. So I sent an email. 3 days later, nothing. Heard absolutely nothing from them. So 3 days later was yesterday. I heard absolutely nothing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to call all these places. Might as well do it now since I can't record. And so I call up these places, being like, where's my folder? And the guy, he was very polite at first, but he had a bit of a condescending tone to his voice. Like, seriously. So I call him up and I'm like, do you have my file? And he said, oh yes, we do. We just haven't reviewed it yet to see if all the documentation is there. I was like, alright, but you do know that the deadline is the 15th, right? And he was like, oh no, you get the accommodation the 25th. I was like, yes, but on the paperwork, it said the deadline was the 15th. And that if I didn't get my keys on the 15th, I wouldn't have the residence. And it was like, there was a pause. There was a little pause. And then, in the most condescending voice he went, we're only the 5th. We're only the 5th. Yes, which means in 10 days, if I hadn't made an appointment, and I haven't gone and got the keys, I don't have a place to stay. But yeah, he didn't, because he was just trotting along the way. We can't review it now, it'd be too hard. Call back next week. So yeah, I'm on that. Like, I'm not mad that they have to review the document, because my documents were late because of a lot of errors and a lot of problems. So I can understand that reviewing my documents were late. I get that. But I'd send them an email. I'd send them an email being like, do you need help with anything? What's the status of my documents? How hard would it have been to write one line saying, oh, we'll review it later, call back next week? That should have been easy. That should have been a no-brainer. Because there's this girl that's worried to death that she doesn't have an apartment. Not to mention I had to actually give them money for the reservation. So yeah, it's not little money, it's not a little bit, it's not €10 now. We're going in the hundreds. But yeah, absolute mayhem. And then there was this morning with a parcel guy that, So yeah, I haven't had the best of luck. It's all getting stressful because it's getting closer to the day I'm starting university, because unlike all the other people that have already started, mine starts a bit later because I guess it's because it's an art university or something, who knows. But yeah, I'm going to an art university this year. I'm really glad because I was really frightened I wouldn't get in and all that. So yeah, sometimes you do get a bit of luck here and there. But my god, if they ask me to do homework, see, I'm at an Airbnb at the current moment. And that's where I'll be, and that's why I don't have my drawing tablet for a bit, because I'm not going to go to an Airbnb and be like, hey, is your electricity ready for all these electronics? So yeah, I also have to buy €200 worth of tools, and half of them I don't know what they are. I've got screwdrivers and everything. It's what am I doing exactly? Am I doing metal work in art uni? I'm not doing sculptures or anything. But yeah, also, if you're wondering, because some people say this, that don't they normally say the plan for the year? I looked at it and it was very vague. It said, this year we're doing experimentation, theories and history. And it's what sort of experimentation are we doing? Are we going to a lab and experimenting on people? Who knows? But yeah, it's absolute. It always gets stressful when it's near the time you have to start. If you're wondering, at the end, just side tangent. At the end, I put the other 2 pictures that 1 didn't record and 2 deleted my recording, because I'm not going to just like put them aside. I want you to see them anyway. Anyway, back on tangent. Yeah, everything gets stressful when it comes to schools and stuff. I can imagine how it feels like for like parents getting their kids ready for school, because that's the thing, when you're a kid you don't realise how much paperwork is behind everything. I remember with my bus service, because I used to have to take 2 buses. I used to have to take 2 buses to go to school because I live in the middle of nowhere. The bus service was always a pain in the butt. Always. Every single time, without fail. It would always be wrong in some way, and they could never tell us why it was wrong. Like, we paid them to renew the card, and they just kind of wouldn't. And it came to the point that my bus driver was just kind of used to me at the start of the year setting off the card reader, being like, nah, she's not here this year. Like, I had a very nice bus driver. She was really nice. I used to always say hello, thank you and all that. She was incredibly very nice. Because you see, it was the one in the early morning, and where I live, which is again in the middle of nowhere, meant that the main road was a good 10-minute walk away. And also I had to stand outside a very spooky, scary forest. I used to hear things from them, it used to terrify me. There was like 1 light on that entire road, and sometimes they wouldn't turn it on. Like, they just couldn't be bothered. They had a bus shelter, but here's the thing about the bus shelter. Apparently, from what the bus driver told me, they couldn't actually see if anyone was under the bus shelter. It was so badly placed that they couldn't see if they were under the bus shelter, and even if they could, because it was uphill, by the time they would have spotted you in the morning when it's really dark, they would have already gone past you. So it was... There's even a zebra crossing, like, there's no passengers, like, there's no pedestrian walk, but there's a zebra cross, just in case you wanted to know. But yeah, so what she would do is that she would pull up to the lane where I normally went through, and because there's no lights in the street either, and I was walking in the dark, it meant that I always had a torch on me. I was always walking with a torch. And so, if she saw the torch, she would actually very politely wait for me to get there. I would normally run because I didn't want to be an inconvenience. And then I would just be like, hello, thank you for waiting and all that. But yeah, she was very nice. She would do that every single time, because sometimes I was late. Like, sometimes I'd just be waiting in the rain, being very unhappy because the bus shelter is in the wrong place. And then other times I was just late because, I don't know, I rolled over and just went back to sleep for a bit. But yeah, bus drivers, incredibly nice. Like, but sometimes the school messed up. But I'll tell you that another time, because those are long stories. Ooh. But yeah, it took me about an hour to get to school. It was very tiresome. Like, now, just getting up at like 9 o'clock is hard. Whereas before, I used to get up at like 6 a.m. and go to sleep at 11. And now I'm just like, no, I would prefer not to. So yeah, very troublesome. I really don't know how kids or me did it. I honestly do not. It's very surprising. Anywho, thank you for listening.